Seeing beyond, living transformed is a spiritual crossing of the threshold to the world of being a truly expanded human being. Join mediums Cheryl and Kelley for conversations about discovering deep spirituality, developing your intuitive and empathic skills, and personal mediumship. Each episode will focus on tips, tools, and techniques to help you understand and expand your own inner gifts of life journey. Now, your host of Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed, Kelley and Cheryl.
Happy almost December.
Yeah.
We want to welcome everyone to today's show of Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed, your internet radio show. We want to thank Todd at WLTK-DB. We want to thank you for being here most of all. And as you come on, please type in the comment section that you're here. We have a wonderful topic today. But before we get to that and open up that conversation, I do want to say hi to my colleague, Kelley. Hi, Kelley.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited for today's show.
It's great to see you. Kelley has been really busy, and I'm so glad that she made it to today's show because she was just going all day today. So thanks.
I was on quite a journey today, and I forgot my makeup.
Even more beautiful. You're even more beautiful.
Thank you, Cheryl. You're so sweet.
Always. The topic for today is so appropriate because both Kelley and I, we've talked about this often about how we get emails from people who are having problems, with this, because they're so sensitive around this emotional time of year, around the holidays. And because we're empaths, most of us are anyway, Kelley and I wanted to come on today's show and talk about maybe offering you some tools or maybe some tips on how to manage your energy during the holiday times if you're an empath. And maybe if you don't know if you're an empath or not, we might even talk about what those signs are or how you can tell you're an empath.
Yes, because, a lot of people don't even know. I have conversations with people all the time, and they're like, oh, that describes me. They're like, is that what I am? And I remember the first time I ever read about what an empath was, I was just like blown away. And I knew immediately, like, I'm an empath. My children are empaths. So, and not everybody is, and it's a great thing to understand and learn to, I guess, manage in a healthy way.
And being an empath is a beautiful attribute or quality to have. I mean, being an empath is, but it's a beautiful thing because you're very sensitive. You're actually also called a highly sensitive person. That's another term for an empath. But you can tell you're an empath. Some of the signs is when you walk into a really like loud or crowded party and you just are overwhelmed and you can't, stay there very long, or you can't take on everyone's energy. That is a sign of an empath. Another sign about being an empath is you like being alone, or at least you like having some alone time. I'll just say that because you do understand that your energy, it's almost like you're really comfortable in your own energy, but being around other people, if they're in a bad mood, you could pick up that energy, right, Kelley? Right?
Yes.
Kelley?
Yeah.
If they're in a great mood, you could feel uplifted. I mean, that's a great reason, to be an empath too, because we all have great friends that support us on our journey, like Kelley always supports me. So being an empath is really even a superpower, it's being called, right? Being an empath is a good thing because you want to be able to know ahead. Maybe you want to be able to anticipate what feels right. You're listening to that gut instinct just a little bit more, I think, than usual.
Yeah. And, some other things, like for me as an empath, I can walk into a party or, small party, large party, whatever it is. And suddenly I come down with like a stomach ache or a headache or like my back starts to hurt, but it didn't hurt till I got in that room. And it took me a while to realize that I was absorbing and picking up other people's pain and taking it on just naturally.
Absorbing is a really good word because it happens, it's unintentional,
I didn't know. Yeah.
I didn't know. But you feel sometimes you can feel physically what maybe someone else is feeling, and sometimes you feel emotionally maybe what
Mhm.
someone else is feeling emotionally. Once again, if it's a good thing, that can be great, but you don't want to really take on other people's energy. Not that we do it intentionally, and so we do want to set some boundaries. Or, I mean, look, going holiday shopping in December to the malls is like number one reason not to go if you're an empath. It's like,
I love internet shopping. Or going to the airport. I
yeah.
mean, I flew today. I got to the airport early this morning. It was busy. The flight was full.
Mm,
I it was just busy at the airport. All of that energy. I mean, I had to sit on a bus to get to the rental car place. They packed us like sardines in that bus.
mhm.
That took, there was a long time ago where I had a hard time and I couldn't do that, but now I know how to manage that energy. And today I had a little bit of an overwhelming feeling. I just envisioned myself in this like beautiful energy bubble that was protecting me, and I started to breathe and feel better.
Wonderful suggestion. I want to ask people that are listening to us right now, if you're an empath, let us know in the comment section. Are you an empath? Do you think you're an empath? Maybe let us know that you don't think you're an empath, because maybe not everybody has those. Has that extra sense, we could call it. But usually, people who are light workers or mediums, psychics, intuitives, such as
Mhm.
Kelley and myself, we do open up our energy field to connect to the other world and to connect with your loved ones, and also helping you on your life path, your life journey. So it's natural for us to open up, but we also know how to do practice self-care. Right, we want to practice self-care. And oh, Kelley gave a great demonstration of putting that bubble around her, so that's number
Yeah.
one, you know uh 5-star tip. So thanks, Kelley, for that.
Thank you. Yeah. Did you, Amy wrote, she gets overwhelmed with a lot of noise. And when
Mhm.
her children get home in the afternoon and they are hyper and playing and being loud, she gets anxious. I can relate, Amy. I also get anxious because I work from home a lot and my husband's loud because he's working from home and I can't think. I get overwhelmed with he's got a lot of energy. I love my husband, but he's high energy and it's overwhelming. He takes over the whole house.
Kelley, one thing for me is, when I'm driving in my car, or when I have a fire truck go by, or a siren go by, I really do plug my ears. I used to be embarrassed or be very self-conscious about doing
Mhm.
that. Now it's like, no way. Like, I feel so much better to just cover my ears, because it's excruciating. As you're praying for the people, and for them getting help, at the same time, I realize how sensitive I've become in my hearing, and I really
Mhm.
want to protect that. I want to care for that. I don't want to be uncomfortable.
For a long time, when I heard the sirens, I would start to cry.
Oh,
Yeah, and I feel like I'm gonna get teary-eyed just
oh,
talking about it. But it's still tough for me sometimes. You know, um, it stopped for a while, but then after RJ passed, there
mm,
was like paramedics and all that there. Triggered it again, and so now it's like a trigger for me. And
mhm,
I've been working on that for the last 6 years.
mhm.
Because there's a lot of sirens every day. I don't know.
Yeah, there are. It's a real honor to be an empath. I mean, I really do feel like we can really tune in to how we are feeling. I think we're more sensitive about our health, maybe, right? So we're
Mhm.
more aware of how we do feel. Or even if we get a job offer, we have to decide between 2 or 3 different jobs. Maybe we can tune in a little bit more into that
Mhm.
gut instinct. So it really
Yeah.
does serve us to be an empath and to celebrate it. A long time ago, or maybe even still today, people would say, "Oh, you're too sensitive," right? Have you guys ever heard that? And if you have, let me
Oh,
know in
yes.
the
Yep.
chat box, in the comment section, when people would say, "Oh, you're so sensitive," or "You're too sensitive." And that used to kind
Toughen up. Toughen up.
of
That's what I used
toughen
to
up.
get told. Yeah.
Yeah, it was really presented as being a negative or a bad thing.
Mhm.
But once again, we learn, we grow, we understand more about our own senses, our psychic and mediumistic abilities, and now it's like, stand back, I'm superwoman, because I'm super empath woman. Like, it's really a great thing to celebrate. And yes, you do want to practice boundaries. And so I just want to say another tip I have to share with you is, I like to kind of take a nap in the afternoon. And I also, not every day, but I try to rest. So I even
Mhm.
try to go to bed a little bit earlier sometimes when I know that I've been around a lot of overstimulating things. How's that? Does that
Yes.
make sense? Like the music and the noise. It's good to rest. It's good to kind of be even in quietness. So, yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. Sometimes I just go when because look, I'm in a household full of like men, my husband, my son, where everybody's home every day because my son's an unschooler and my husband works from home. I work from home. And we have 3 dogs and 4 cats. It can get quite overwhelming. So I like take everything and go lock myself in the bedroom and sit in the dark.
Ooh, the dark.
I like to just sit in a dark room in the daytime. I don't really take a nap. I just it's almost like a meditation. I'm just regrouping my energy.
It's true. And I only need like 10 minutes, just like give me a good 10,
10, 15 minutes.
and
Yeah.
then you just bounce up again, right? And you're ready
Yes.
to go.
I just need to get away from all of them so I can get my thoughts clear. Yeah. Um, I also, because my family didn't teach me about this, and I didn't really learn about an empath and how to really embrace it and set those boundaries till I started developing like 11 years ago. So I feel guilty about this because my daughter is an empath. And as a child, I used to tell her to toughen up and to get over it and not to cry so much. And now I feel really bad because, that's kind of messed her up as an adult. You know, I didn't know. I did what my family did. So, if you're a parent and you're an empath and your child is sensitive, don't try to toughen them up. Teach them techniques to manage that energy in a healthy way.
uh, uh, as we move into the fifth dimension, as we move into the divine female energy, which is highly creative, very strong, very powerful, very sensitive, as we know more and more men are opening up to their sensitivity as well. They're becoming more sensitive. There are a lot of men who are also empaths. I mean, and they could be the quietest person or the loudest person, and you would never know sometimes. The big loud guys, but yet they're a teddy bear inside. It's that type of feeling where, you can feel their sensitivity. So that also might be seeing, we might be experiencing and inviting more and more men because they are also opening up their empathic abilities. Absolutely. And it's, once again, it's a power, certainly something to be proud of. But you want to know, the more sensitive you become, the more sensitive you are. So you want to protect that. And maybe another boundary would be, organizing your time or learning to say no and not stretching it to the burning the candle on both ends, so to speak.
We don't have to please everybody.
Mm,
And I think a lot of empaths end up being people pleasers. Have you noticed that?
I agree.
And I was always called the people pleaser as a child, like, or the kiss butt, because I didn't want to upset anybody. So I ate all my vegetables. I ate my brother's vegetables so they didn't get in trouble. And I always made sure I did good in school, although my brothers always got in trouble. But I always made sure I was like the goody two shoe because I didn't want to rock any boats, right?
Okay, you have to say that again. You ate your brother's vegetables to make him happy, or what?
They hate vegetables, but I didn't want them to get in trouble.
Oh,
So I would eat them for them sometimes.
that's adorable, Kelly. But I think knowing that you are an empath does, like you said, when you're a people pleaser, knowing that you are an empath, you want to always be aware of that and monitor how, that people pleasing. I mean, it has to be a fair, even exchange of energy, right? Rather, you don't really want to bend over backwards, and then sacrifice your own health or well-being. You really want to make sure that you're in a good space. If you're going to do that, you want to make sure you either take time to recoup, because a lot of us do get tired. We do bend over backwards for our loved ones, our family, our children,
Especially during the holidays.
especially during the holidays. Thank you.
We overextend ourselves, we overspend, we do lots of trying to please everybody and make everybody happy. And here's the thing, you can't please everybody, it's impossible. And you can only do what you can do. And I feel like if it's doing something to you, like if it's making you tired, if it's stressing you out, it's not a healthy thing. There's a boundary that needs to be put up. Right?
Right. I want to make a comment about for someone, Amy Ellis at 407. She says that she has to put on noise canceling headphones and lay down for a few minutes. You and I have a lot in common, Amy and Kelley. I don't know if you've done this yet, but I too, Amy, I bought noise canceling headphones. Like, I spent some nice money buying a really quality set to sit in the silence because it's almost like, oh, I can breathe, I can breathe. It is so true, Amy. I thought I was the only one.
My son's the same way. My son lived in those noise canceling earphones from like age 3 until just recently. He has decided that he can just wear these now, and he does not wear the big headphones anymore. But he's 15 and a half. He has learned to manage his energy, I would say, pretty well.
Fantastic.
Because I think he's the child that kind of pushed me on my spiritual journey. And so he got a different mom than his big sister got.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
I feel like I've taught him better coping skills.
Right.
But he wore those everywhere. People just like.
So Amy, I love your tip too. Amy bought noise canceling headphones. I love it. So for everyone in our audience, if you want to share what you do to manage your energy, if you have found a way, because Kelley and I still have more to come here, but really share with us, because maybe there's something that we missed or we haven't covered yet, because we haven't even talked about, meditation yet. We haven't talked about breathing. Kelley mentioned the visualizing the bubble around you, which I love. I love that one.
Me too.
Yeah.
It works for me, but it might not work for you. Maybe you need to visualize the glass wall.
Yep.
Or maybe you need to visualize shutting all the chakras down.
Exactly.
There's different, you have to play around. I used to use the bubble with my son when he was little, but then the bubble popped. He would tell me, he was like 5 or 6, right? So then we would do the egg. He's a good egg, and he's in this egg, and he's really protected in this beautiful egg. Well, then he told me the eggshell cracked. So we came up with a glass wall for him.
Okay.
And for me, I like the bubble because you can see through it. You can let what stuff in that you want. It feels good.
Before I walk into a mall or a really busy store, and that's another thing, I try to go to the store early in the morning, right? Or when it's not as busy. And that is, it's a game changer right there. Go in the morning, or don't go on Saturday. Oh, unless you want to dive into it. There are definitely times where I want to dive into the crowd, and I want to be the shopper, and I have more time, to take it easy. That's okay. I don't stay there very long, but I enjoy the festiveness of people and the crowds and all of that. But what I do though, before I walk into a store, you do the bubble, Kelley. I do the zipper, where I either zip up the chakras.
Yeah.
Right. Or I imagine turning on and off a light switch like that, just snapping my fingers, and I'm surrounded by a bubble or an energy field, a white light, so to speak, where I do feel I am very aware of the energy around me now. And I almost take a checklist of how I'm feeling now. And I want to feel this good when I walk out of the store too. It's like, okay,
that's a good idea.
Feeling pretty good. If I feel anything other than, like a disturbance in the field or something, as they say, I'll maybe do a self-check. How am I feeling? What do I feel differently? Where did I just come from? What was I, just thinking, or who was around me?
I like to have a plan if I'm going to go shopping, like in person. And I like to have my plan, like, this is what I need. I'm going to try to go to these stores, and I try to go at a time when it's not super crowded. And I like to take breaks. I would like to go to a mall if there's a coffee shop. So maybe I'll go into one store, get some stuff done, and then I go take a little break. And I regroup. That's my favorite thing. And I don't like to be rushed. But since everything's online now, and since COVID, I order my groceries. They get delivered. I order from Amazon almost daily, and everything's delivered, and I love it. I feel like that works for me.
It is overwhelming. I love what you're telling me, Kelley, because when I walk into the store the other day. I walked into a shopping store, and it's overwhelming. It's like
It
it's just
can be.
overwhelming. I mean, they've got everything out from the back on the floor, you gotta squeeze in between the racks kind of thing. It's just overwhelming.
Well, and then you can't, there's so much, like, you can't see anything. Like, that's how it is for me. Like, I'm like, what do I look at? Like, I can't focus anymore. I've lost all focus, right? So it's difficult. And I think for me, it's overwhelming when there's so much, especially at the holidays. So I like to steer clear and do my shopping early.
I love it. Well, you are.
Well, I don't do that, Cheryl. I'm learning to do that. I've always been the person who shops 3 days before Christmas
Yeah.
and gets all stressed out, right? But I'm learning to start doing it early.
Can I ask you, Amy is actually asking again, is being an empath hereditary?
I
Hmm,
I believe it is.
probably is.
I believe it is because I know my mom was an empath.
Mhm.
I actually believe my father was too. I know a lot of my siblings are. I'm not sure about all of them,
Mhm.
but and I know that all of my children were to some extent. My youngest and my middle child were really strong empaths, and it's a good thing to be. I would say a lot of empaths, they're usually animal lovers too,
Mm.
because
We
animals help us.
They do. They're so full of unconditional love, and it's hard to watch the commercials, right? Hard to watch the commercials, where they need help and they're not healthy at all. And
I'm a bawling mess during those.
yes, I it's very, very hard to watch some of these commercials, because, we wear our heart on our sleeve, and
Mhm.
it's something really very admirable. It's something very, fifth dimensional, I'll just say, because we are working more from a heart, based intelligence. Like, you and I and everyone here today, when we're empaths, we work more from the heart. Everything is from the heart. We talk from the heart. We hear, we listen, we communicate through our heart, right? And so it's just going to be natural that we're more sensitive, we're more susceptible. But you definitely go ahead, Kel.
Oh no, and I was just gonna be like, if you notice that the older we get, it seems like the more sensitive we get.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That saying about having thin skin when you're older, because you really
Mhm.
do. Your skin
Yeah.
is thinner, probably, right? But it's
Yeah.
so true. Your emotions are thinner. You're so much more easier. And really, older people are so sensitive. It's so beautiful that they
Mhm.
are just opening up, because it's almost like they're taking down the ego or the guard, and their heart, it's just as if every day, they're just much more aware, right? Even if
Right?
they may not be able to express it or what have you, they are much more aware, right?
I feel like I was thinking this today at the airport. There was a lot of people today at the airport with their animals, their dogs,
Oh,
little
there,
dogs.
yeah.
But I've never seen that many people at the airport with dogs. It was kind of
Oh,
exciting.
it's
And I feel like maybe I need to start bringing my dogs with me everywhere.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe that's what it, because I really like to travel and stuff, but I always like dread the airport.
I,
It's a lot.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of energy for sure. And being an empath, we naturally are all filled with love, and we are all vibrating on a higher vibration. And when you are around the busyness or the heaviness of a physical world or of noise, and when you have it all coming at you, so to speak, the noise, the planes, the overhead intercom, coming out, it's a lot to absorb, even though so we do have to manage our time. So for those of us that do travel a lot, or we do want to make sure that we take the time after, when we get home or even before, you want to prepare that time to decompress, or to
Mhm.
self-care, to take that bubble bath, or
Right?
that time of putting your feet up on the couch for a while. You got to slow down.
Self-care is really important
Mhm.
during the holidays, and it's something that a lot of empathic people will put off because they're trying to get so much done to take care of everybody else. So I want to stress that my biggest tip is to make sure that you make time every day, and I say that every day, to do something for yourself. It doesn't have to be huge. Mine is I like a bath, like Cheryl was saying, and I like to sit in my tub for like an hour and just read. My husband thinks I'm crazy. I get out all shriveled up, but I feel so relaxed, and it's like I'm refreshed and I'm ready to go for the next day.
And
You know?
let's talk about that, because I part of what I teach, and you as well, Kelley, is when we are in the shower or in a bath, not only are we cleaning the physical body, but we're cleaning the energy field. I mean,
Yes.
it makes sense. It's science, it's metaphysics, it's physics. We clean the energy field around us, and we imagine it like going anything negative or not belonging to us, for example, we let it go down the drain. So
Exactly. I feel lighter after the tub.
lighter and cleaner, and not only
Yes.
cleaner, but maybe even more
Yes.
energized, more relaxed. Either one is fine.
Well,
But
I seem to get inspiration when
ins
I'm in the tub, and I can't wait to get out and start like working on whatever I'm inspired by.
yeah,
So to me, it's like a meditation, you know?
it really is 15, 20 minutes in a hot bath, or with some Epsom salt that
Oh
you
yeah.
helpful, right, to relax your muscles, or a fruit.
Eucalyptus oil.
What did you say? What?
Eucalyptus oil.
To soil, absolutely.
Oh, so good.
Rose oil, lavender,
Yes.
whatever you like, to put in the bath, and a candle, I mean, it's really about, I mentioned this before another time on our show, that I like to have a spa day where I kind of create, I turn off my phone or my TV, my computer for a few hours, right? And I try to spend the most of the day taking care of myself, the bath or the shopping or the writing. Maybe I read something inspirational. I'm here, I listen to music. It's my time to step into that vibration of self-care, of
Mhm.
love, of eating some chocolate, right? If that's what I
Yeah.
want, right? So, but Kelley, I love you mentioning that it should be every day, because that reminds me every day.
I do. I didn't used to do that, but I do that. I have been doing that this year. And I'll say why I've been doing that this year. It's been a rough year for me, and I feel like I wasn't taking care of myself, which is common when we do this work. We start to forget to take care of ourselves. So I made a real commitment, in the beginning of the year that I'm going to really work on taking care of myself. And my lovely husband remodeled our bathroom and gave me this beautiful soaking tub. So now I have to take advantage of that.
You have to. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's such a gift for yourself that you wanted to manifest that bathtub. Your husband helped you manifest. You
he did.
created such a beautiful space, right? That sacred space, really, because like you said, that's where you're safe, you're meditating, you're connecting, right? You're aware, you're opening up to loving yourself and bringing in more light, and really taking time for yourself and listening. I think maybe that's what you're doing, because you're also in the
Mhm.
quietness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice. You know, oh, I'm sorry. Is there feedback on me? I
No,
just heard.
I sound good
Oh,
over here.
okay. So I think that, if we can create a sacred spot in our home, it doesn't have to be a big spot. It could even be a chair, but it's like a special spot where you put all your loving energy into it. And that's where you go and you sit and regroup when you're feeling overwhelmed. And I like it. Mine is I have a chair and then I have my bathroom.
Do you have a chair in your bathroom?
No, the chair is in the living room, but it's by the fireplace,
Oh,
it's like a little couch or my office. But it's a place where I can just go and I can just relax and not be, I can just kind of regroup and gather my energy back, pull it in.
that's what it is all about, because we spend so much time of our day of giving energy out, our energy's out, going out. And when you need that time to kind of call it back or bring it back in, call yourself home, call that soul home, all of you, bring back all of that energy, and not anyone else's.
Yeah.
You want to let go of everyone else's energy,
You want to
because
send theirs back to them and pull yours in.
with love and compassion and
Yes.
prayer. So,
There's a guided meditation for that. If you Google it, I forget what it's called,
mm,
but I think it's on YouTube, and it's something. It's called like pulling my energy back. You
okay.
know, and it goes something like, you think of all the places you've been, like handles you've touched, people's homes you've been in, stores you've been in, and you call that energy back from those places. So you like kind of envision them, you
Love
know,
it.
and you think about all the people's energy that you picked up, and you send it back to them, even if you didn't know them, like at the store clerk or whatever. And it's kind of a cool meditation. I like it.
I like it. That sounds great. And another tip, excuse me, I hit the microphone there. Another tip would be because we're in December again, or we will be tomorrow. We're going to have all these parties coming up, right? Christmas, holiday, work parties, New Year's parties, after parties, opera, ski parties. So that would be a great tip, Kelley, to practice what you just said, that meditation after going to those parties.
And sometimes we think, oh, we're these spiritual people, Cheryl, like, right? We've got it all down. We know what to do. But sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves, even us. And it's okay. I mean, you just have to say, okay, now I've got to take a step back and I've got to start working on me again. Like you just have to like reset again and start over. It doesn't mean it's like the end of the world. There's a great question here from somebody on YouTube. Can I read that here? Because so the family member had a terminal illness, and she became very sick with a severe ongoing abdominal pain until he passed and ended up in the ER. And she's just wondering if this was an empath related thing. I mean, I can't say for sure because I don't know what the doctor said, but I feel it was because that stuff has happened to me and other people I've worked with. What about you, Cheryl?
I do too, because, being an empath, we can feel physical pain, we can feel emotional pain, we can feel mental pain if we're struggling, in our mental decision making or thoughts. So, and it can be a combination of all of that or some of that. So, yes, I do believe a lot of that you were feeling is from emotional and the physicalness of it. And I feel dehydration, or you weren't, caring for yourself at that time. So maybe you did kind of, get away from eating properly.
And here's the thing. Before I really even ever learned about an empath, most of my 20s and even my most of my 30s, I was in and out of the doctors trying to figure out what I had. They thought I had an autoimmune disease. They diagnosed me with, what is that? Fibromyalgia and
Oh,
this and that, right?
mm,
When I started developing and learning about all of those aches, all those pains, everything went away. It was quite amazing. And I started to learn to ask myself when I did start to feel like, oh, I got a headache or my stomach hurts, to look around who I'm surrounded by and ask them how they're feeling. And it turns out most of the time they've got the stomach ache, they've got the headache. And then I knew I need to kind of reset my energy so I'm not picking up on that.
absolutely, absolutely. I want to mention, grounding is another tip for everyone that if you can practice it on a daily basis, grounding absolutely helps you practice self-care, because it does bring your energy back into your own centeredness. You bring your energy back into your heart, into the core, into your soul, your spirit, your physical body. And the
Oh my gosh. Sorry, Cheryl.
That's okay if you gotta go for a second, that's okay. So practicing grounding is so important, and we talked about this just last Sunday in my Sunday night healing prayer circle, is that grounding is, all about, there's lots of benefits to grounding. There's emotional, like, stability, physical stability, wellness, balance, harmony, harmonic resonance in the body where you're feeling good, you're not being overwhelmed. That, ground when you're overwhelmed, you're probably not grounded. Okay. And being an empath, we can step into that overwhelm.
Sorry.
No, it was okay. It's okay. Great to have you back.
I'm at a hotel, and that was the cleaning people. They wanted to know if I wanted my room cleaned, and I just checked in. Anyways, so yes, keep going, Cheryl.
That's great. No, I was just saying grounding and a great way to ground. Not only, grounding is about resting, getting plenty to eat and sleeping. And, it's like living a balanced lifestyle, everything in moderation. It's not about taking anything out of your life. It's about finding a balance where, yeah, go out and have a great time, go to a party, have a great time, but then make sure you balance that out with eating well or eating proper for a couple of days after, what have you. But it is about realizing that your own energy field can really get ungrounded, meaning you're in your mental energy a lot. When you have so much on your plate, you're thinking about so much, you want to bring that energy all the way down into your feet, down into Mother Earth. And I know that we can send Mother Earth all of our, negative thoughts, all of our grief, our frustration, all of our overwhelm, hand it over to her, just like you're setting something down, right? And you're releasing it just that easy because you need this for yourself, for your own wellness. You need to be able to breathe. So, grounding will also help you learn that breathing is so important. That can be grounding in itself.
I love that, Cheryl. That's really great advice. Here's a question from Kim. She wants to know how you feel about grounding sheets.
I don't know what that is, Kim. What?
Okay, I was hoping you knew. So I was like, yeah, Cheryl.
I'm sure I know what it is if you remind me what it is. So, or
Yeah,
maybe we call
yeah.
it something different.
Right. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, yeah. And, to know that we're having this conversation and we're bringing this up, we hope for today it shows you that there are a lot of us out there that are empaths and that you're not alone and that we understand. And by sharing this information, we can maybe help you. You can help another person. I'm sure if you're an empath, your friends might be empaths too, or at least some of them. Yeah.
So she said grounding bed sheet. So I want to answer this. I don't know if it's what she means,
Okay.
but I travel a lot
Mhm.
and I like to bring my sprays. I have one that is eucalyptus spray, and I have one that is Palo Santo and sage. And I actually spray the bedding in the areas around where I sleep. Um, the reason I do this is I had an experience once on the Queen Mary.
Do tell.
I was on the Queen Mary with another medium friend of mine, Patty, and we were sharing a room. And I couldn't sleep, and I was overwhelmed by like spirits. There was just so much energy, and I woke up in my sleep yelling at him, and I had a spray. I grabbed my sage spray, and I just started spraying around, going, "Go away, I'm sleeping." And she was laughing at me. I don't remember doing all of that because I was half asleep. But yes, yeah. So that's what I do. I don't know if that's what you mean, Kim,
Yeah,
but yeah.
I think so because I do something similar. Like my whole area where I sleep is very sacred, right? So I do use lavender oil or I do use, rose. I love rose water. I do set that intention that that is my sacred space where, it is for healing and inspiration. It is for, really that slumbering feeling of I receive messages, in my dreams and what have you. So it's very important for me to set that intention and to have gratitude, which is another grounding exercise. I think being an empath, we all need to be reminded how underestimated grounding is for those of us that don't know how powerful it is yet.
And
Ground,
there's lots of ways to ground.
yeah.
Um, I feel like my animals ground me.
Mm,
I like to be barefoot
yeah,
and outside,
yeah.
although it's bad for my feet, and my pedicures will get mad at me, but I still like it. I like to be in nature. That's grounding, but we can't always do all these things, right? Chocolate grounds me.
Ah,
You know, um, Even a cup of tea,
yeah.
green tea, will ground me. It just sort of brings me. That's why I said when I go shopping, I like to know where I have to have somewhere I can go and sit, and I'll have a cup of tea, and I'll sit there and relax and plan out my next store I'm going to go in.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I also practice feng shui. That's something I've taken up many years ago. I love feng shui. feng shui, the art of placement, or the art of, decorating your home in a way that feels good to you.
Hmm.
I do follow the Bagua, or I do follow certain parts of my house, for money or fortune, for family, for career,
Oh, yeah.
for attracting romance in your life. But I do listen to my house in some way, or I get a vibe, it's almost like, you want to walk in and just feel so uplifted in your home. I try to create that where I just feel good about being home, right? And I'm a Taurus, so I'm just a homebody by nature anyway. Yeah.
I, I'm a homebody and I'm not, Um, I love to be home too, but I also like to be wherever my husband is. So we travel a lot because he has to work out of town. So I just like to be with him, and I just like to hang out in the hotel sometimes, or
That's
go walking somewhere, or something, somewhere like in nature, if it's in nature,
Nature's a great grounding for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you can just, being in nature, I think, kind of reunites you with who you really are, or reunites you with your spiritual side of yourself, so to speak. It reunites you and really reminds you, how great the spirit world is, but also how great it is to be where we are. I mean, we're very fortunate to have those, experiences and be aware of that. There's so much energy in nature too. The trees are vibrating, the pine needles, the squirrels. I mean, everything is so alive and vibrant in nature.
Well, you should see where I'm at right now in Sedona.
Yeah,
I'm surrounded by all those beautiful red mountains. Like, I'm so close to them.
yeah.
And as soon as I pulled up, I just felt like I could breathe. It
Mhm.
was like the best feeling.
When you
Yeah,
can, like, go put your hands on the mountainside or the rocks,
I
or
know.
get that vibration, the heat, the temperature, the roughness, or take in that beautiful vortex of Sedona.
Mhm.
I mean, it's amazingly incredible.
It is. I love it. I love it. I mean, I'm excited. I wish I could stay here longer.
Yeah. I wish I could be out there, walking around with you. It's been so long since I've been there.
Yes. Hi, Barbara. She just said hello to us. And Kim said, great idea about the sprays. She sprays rose spray every night, and the sheets actually plug into an outlet to ground.
Yeah.
And Kat up here, this Kat Carroll, she posted a site called groundingofficial.com.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, maybe they sell grounding sheets. I
Mhm.
guess it's a thing I've never heard of.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Kat.
Yeah, here, I'll just put that up here for anybody who can't see it because it's just on Facebook.
I also want to mention another tip about being an empath, and tips for the holidays, because we're mentioning this for the holidays, but really this is any time. What we're sharing, we're just helping you understand why this it can be more overwhelming during the holidays. So if you can understand that, I mean, you're probably already practicing some of these tips and not even know it. You're going home after being at a party for 15 minutes, or being in an old building that has a lot of information and history there, that can either overwhelm you after a while. So then you step out of that. But I want to mention a tip also is to say, you know, no, thank you, right? The power of no, or let
Mhm.
me think about it and I'll get back to you. A lot of us being empaths, we
Yes,
just want to help and say yes. We don't want to say no,
right.
Kelly. What's up with that? We don't want to say no.
It's so hard. I mean, I have gotten much better in the last 10 years. I'm pretty good, now, but I still have moments. I wanted to bring up too with children because people will oftentimes will mistake like a tantrum for like a naughty kid.
Mhm.
But you think that it's overwhelming for us for the holidays. Imagine being an empathic child. They might have meltdowns at parties. They might misbehave at a party because they're overwhelmed and overstimulated because they're an empath. So keep an eye out for that behavior. And instead of punishing them, maybe, remove them from the environment, give them extra love, show them how to ground themselves, show them how to recenter. Oftentimes people want to talk, bad about those kids, because I have one of those kids. When he was little, people would say horrible things about him because he would have these meltdowns, but they didn't understand. So, if somebody's going through that, be understanding to that parent, because they're probably an empath with a sensitive child and they don't understand it. And maybe you do. And, give them an extra hand, give them tell them they're doing a good job, whatever it is, like anything you could do to help in that way, because, people need that too.
Empaths, we need an outlet, right? We need an outlet, whether we exercise, go for a walk, talk to a friend on the phone. So when we are around situations where our child is upset too, it's hard to kind of see it from their little world, their world, their little eyes. It's hard to see what they're going through. We just know that something's happening that we don't want to happen, but because we either try to control our emotions and our own energy, not realizing that we need to get things off our chest or have an outlet for our own energy, it can definitely be frustrating. Because babies they come into this world, they're so open, they're so, they're so connected,
Yeah, and we have to understand that we've forgotten. My husband for the longest time didn't understand my sensitivities, and he would get frustrated or angry with me when I would get overwhelmed, because he would call it a certain mode. I won't say that every, and I think, in therapy, like the therapist is like, well, she's, overwhelmed, like you should be supportive, not getting mad, and you should understand. And it took him, somebody explaining it to him. So, be aware of that. Like when somebody's being extra grumpy, maybe they're overwhelmed and they're not actually grumpy,
It's so easy today to be in the fast lane all the time. We always maybe feel like we're behind schedule, or we're not thinking about ourselves. And, we really do want to, just as much as you schedule your appointments with other people, you want to schedule appointments with yourself, or schedule time with yourself. It can be especially important in the morning to take a few moments and meditate or do some writing. I started writing in the morning.
Oh, that's beautiful, Cheryl. Good idea.
Oh my God, it's I have my notebook, and I just write down what I'm feeling, and then I still keep my notebook open even though I get up and get my coffee, what have you. But anytime I have something in the morning that I want to get off my chest, or a new idea even, I'm writing that down, because I'm trying to have that time for that purpose of expressing myself. What did I just wake up? How am I feeling for the day? It's time to take that inventory. How's that? That self inventory.
Another thing that I do that has helped me so much, I started doing it this year, is I oftentimes will overschedule myself, thinking I have enough time in the day to do everything, and I really don't. And what I ended up doing was like forgetting to eat, forgetting to take care of myself, things like that. So I use my iPhone calendar for everything, right?
Yeah.
I actually put time on there to wake up, my time to, and it's an estimate of time, right? Eat breakfast. I scheduled in my lunch. I scheduled in drive times. I scheduled in like all these things that I never used to think about. And since I did that, I've stopped overbooking myself. I've stopped overstressing myself. And it seems like my days are like easy to get through now. It's not overwhelming. I'm excited about it.
I love it. And I've heard that from really like highly successful people, so to speak, or those
I
books,
read it in a book. Yes.
successful habits is to schedule your day, because it helps you, and it just relieves that pressure on yourself, right? It relieves any stress that you have, right? Or it relieves it gets it out of your head and on into your phone, or on paper.
Oh, here's a good question, and I'm curious what you think on this, Cheryl. Do you feel that having too many devices in your place where you sleep works against us? Isn't every outlet that is open already draining to us?
Well, I have an opinion.
I want to hear yours.
Well, mine might be a little out there, but I think you guys are ready for it. Uh, I do think some of us are very much, I think the answer is yes. It can be overwhelming. It can definitely be overwhelming and draining. I also want to take the opposite idea also, the opposite point of view, and say some of us are electrical beings, or we thrive in some way from a lot of electricity or energy, or what something like that. For example, when there's an electrical storm outside, it might be very fearful to some, but that is a lot of energy out there. And of course, we don't want anyone to be harmed by it. That's not the point. The point is the amount of energy that's coming through. So I'm not saying plug in every outlet and turn on all your appliances at your home, because I do think that there is that EMF, that electromagnetic field, right? Or it emits an energy where you can hear it too. You can hear when your equipment's on, like when your refrigerator's on, you can hear that humming, what have you. So it would be ideally, what I like to do is for me, I remove everything electrical out of my room. Even the alarm clock, I try to have like a battery operated one, or not one that's plugged in, but I can't hear it. It's got to be quiet. But something like, try not to use any outlet, and try not to, and I try to have low lighting in my bedroom, especially in the evening. But it is about creating that feng shui, because that's where I'm always headed, that feng shui, serene, optimal time of appreciating that sacred space.
So, and I'm probably the opposite.
Are you the opposite? Go for it.
My husband's like Cheryl, and I personally, I do hear electricity. I always have. I hear the humming. So I don't like that. My son, I got him a quiet fan because he needs a fan on all night long. I have a room humidifier, and I have an air purifier in my room that runs. They're quiet, so they're not noisy. I don't like lights in my room. I want it completely dark. So I have tape over any of the outlets that have red lights on them, or any of the Roku or anything. But I'm that person that wants all the lights on at night. I love a bright night. I actually just had installed extra bright lights because I love it.
So you love bright lights at night in your room, but when
I'm not sleeping,
yes, when you go to sleep, you like it
I
completely.
want everything dark and quiet. But when I'm awake, I want it bright and it feels good. And I don't like a dark house. And my husband likes the darker lights.
Yeah. Oh,
and so we paid extra to have new lighting put in that goes extra bright, but it had a dimmer, so he could dim it and I could to kind of. So I do think that too many electronics do affect us and stuff, but I think it depends on what they are. I don't think it drains my energy, honestly. I might be that person that gets amped up by it.
Yeah, I don't know if it drains my energy either. And I think it's different too for different people. And, we've really become accustomed to having electronics in our life. I mean, we didn't have a cell phone X number of years ago. Now we have cell phones and all of this. I want to say that she's asking about an open outlet, like
nothing's plugged in it.
Well, and sometimes they have the safety, the child safety caps that you cover.
Yes.
I might try that. I haven't even thought about an open.
I've used that before because I had kids. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I can tell you this. As a child, I heard noises that nobody else heard, and it was usually like, I call it the earth noises. I could hear the electricity in the neighborhood. I could hear, everything. So at nighttime, it was very noisy for me in the city. And when I went camping for the first time, it was uni camp through CLA. They took us out to, I think it was a Big Bear. We slept outside, and those noises actually calmed me. And I went right to sleep. I never slept so good in my life. I love sleeping outside, but inside there's so much noise. So yes, I do think it affects us a little bit because I hear it. It's so noisy at night.
That's why people have a white noise. They have these white noise machines of nature, or just white noise, or the ocean. I agree that, I love sleeping under like a new moon or full moon. I love going outside, or just at least being out there for an hour, even in the evening, just to experience the energy from the moon. So for everyone, I would encourage you to try to absorb or send love to the moon, and then, receive the love it's giving back to you, because it's very important for us not only to get energy from the sun, because we all should be getting energy from the sun. It cleans the energy field. It helps ground us. So many advantages to the sunshine, but also to the full moon or any moon, really.
Yes.
Just being out at night, the energy of the sky is incredible.
So Amy again said something that really triggers something in me too. I think that Amy and I might be similar because she says she loves the answer, but she has energy that makes things stop working, even in the dentist's office.
Yeah.
Phones, computers, and most electronics devices stop working. Amy, I'm the same way. They had to ground me in my office because I fried like 10 motherboards. So I wasn't allowed to step into the office till I stepped on a grounding thing. When I used to file things, flames would come up and I'd have black marks on my hands from the flames. I've always had I feel I'm very electric, very staticky. And when I go to use my card, almost every store, it doesn't work for me, but somebody else can use it. Or their machine suddenly breaks. So I get it. I think some people have a lot of electricity in them already. I've popped light bulbs, everything. It's crazy.
I agree.
So,
I agree. And I do know someone just like you, Kelley, that, wherever he goes, it doesn't happen so much anymore, but he was blowing through computers. They'd all be on the floor
yes.
by his front door because like broke.
Broke. It was the motherboard. I fried it with my electricity.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I do want to say for everyone, when your appliances do break sometimes, not as what Kelley, but sometimes the toaster will break or whatever breaks, the DVD player will break. It could be your energy field, but it can also be that your vibration is raising and that appliance, we'll call it, that machine, that little box there, we'll talk about a DVD player, for example, can't hold your energy. So it breaks, but that's you just having to upgrade because your energy is upgraded also. So when things may break around you, it's not like, oh no, what am I doing wrong? It's like, wait a minute, maybe I do need to buy a new appliance with that updated plug or that updated feature, bells and whistles, because my energy is also shifting. So know that when you do this work as a light worker, a healer, a medium, a psychic, that your energy's shifting and opening and expanding and developing and strengthening as well.
It's so true. I mean, as a child, I feel like when we're children, we're so open, we're so, amazing like with that, right? But we don't understand it or know it. And I frequently used to blow out, like I would pop light bulbs in my bedroom. My mom would get mad, like she thought I was literally popping them myself, but it was just me turning on the switch and it would just explode. TVs wouldn't work. Like it would, back in the day, you had the whole tin foil and, and all I had to do was like stand behind the TV and it would work. But if I stepped away, the TV got all staticky and my brothers would get mad at me. So, like lots of things that, children do and we forget about as adults, but that's our energy. It's so strong.
Yeah. I love it. And that's why also when you go to a party or when you're on the other side of the room from someone and there's that eye to eye contact, it could be a friend or someone you want to go out with, but it's that energy, magnetism, right? So that is energy, just to show people that is energy, right? That is energy. And you could, it could either make you feel good or feel drained. That would be the empath in you, absorbing that energy. But once again, everything is energy. Everything is energy. We want to remind each other of that.
And you have to think about it like that's what attracts us to people is when, we have similar, we're similar and we're like pulled together because of that, right? Yeah.
So having the energy field, being an empath, knowing about who you are as a spiritual being, I know that that's our goal for today is to help you strengthen and step into that power of, oh my God, you are an incredible, magnificent spiritual being on this planet at a huge historical time. We are at a monumentally historical time, being alive today, and we chose it. We want to be here to help others, to help the planet, right? To help ourselves, to love our family, to raise the vibration. That's why we're here, and we need to be here. So being grounded and knowing what your superpower is super important.
Right. Yeah, and embracing who we are and loving it.
Yeah. Yeah. Kit says to get a warranty on your laptops because burns she
So
burns the chargers. I was laughing when you were talking. She's
I think that that might be your energy, not because you're klutzy, because I have the same issue. I burn through batteries. I don't use regular laptops anymore. I use a Mac now, and I haven't had it happen with my MacBook, so I have to say that's a plus.
yeah.
But I do that with regular laptops. I've burned through the batteries, the chargers, everything. So does my son. He fries laptops about every year. He's so energetic. He's just like me.
So just for example, being an empath, I mean, if you ever do get a headache, for anyone that ever gets a headache, being an empath or what have you, a great way is to just knowing that there's a lot of energy up here and you're around your head area and that mental energy. Imagine that you're almost pulling, you can pull the energy from your head. You can use the pulling motion or just kind of comb through your auric field, which is just about 6 inches or 12 inches above your head or around your shoulders. See if you can open the energy, just remove anything that's there, gently sweep across the head. See if you can't move and clean that energy field. And that might help relieve some of that, really does help you feel better.
Mhm.
Just having somebody sweep your energy field, like even if you're when you get a massage, if you're with someone that knows energy, they can just kind of work above the physical body and kind
Mhm.
of smooth out that energy field, smooth out that aura energy. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, it's very important.
Yes.
Oh my God, this is fun. We're having a good episode today. We're
Yeah.
talking about tips on empaths. We're talking about energy. We're talking about the holidays. I mean, it's amazing what we are creating right now and what we're experiencing, and that we have this platform to share these conversations.
And I love that. And I'm excited for the holidays this year because it's the first time since my son passed that I'm excited for the holidays. And that makes me even more excited,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So I really am really practicing all of these tips myself to make sure I have a wonderful holiday. And I hope that you guys find some helpful, some of these helpful and you get to implement them in your life and have a great December and January.
Kelly, I know you have an event coming up.
Yeah.
I think you're doing a private gig this weekend, private readings for people.
I
I'm not sure if
am,
you have more things coming up. If you can let us.
yeah. Well, I am working this weekend. It's called Good Grief Retreats. I posted about it last month, and I am here in Sedona, and I'll be working with it's all women. I'm going to do a dem, and then I'm going to do some private readings for some of the women. So I'm really excited about that. I hope that there's more of them, and there is. I'll let you guys know. I was brought in. I didn't host. It's not my business. It's another lady one of my clients. She's amazing, Danielle Marshall. But if you get the opportunity to look it up, it's Good Grief Retreats with an S, because there's Good Grief Retreat, I guess. Hers is Retreats, I think. Anyways, it's exciting. And then I'm doing a free demonstration of mediumship for all parents who lost a child on December 21st. I think it's a Thursday night at 6:00. You can find all this out on my website.
December
Medium.
21st is a Wednesday, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But anyway,
Whoops.
yeah.
Well, you can find it on. I'm terrible with dates, everybody. You'll see that. So, um, yeah, it is a Wednesday, and it is that night. So it's a Wednesday night, and I'm also got my mentorships up for next year, and I do a monthly small group reading where everybody gets a reading as well. But if you know a parent or if you're a parent who lost a child, check out my dem. Come and hopefully maybe you'll get a reading. But I do feel like the messages are healing for all. So definitely come and get some messages. Yeah.
And what's your website, Kelly? And they can sign up
It's
for your newsletter.
here. I'm going to put it right here. Yeah, and sign up for my newsletter because that's the best way to hear about everything first. It's
And
mediumkelly.com. And I
beautiful.
just put it in there.
Beautiful.
And doesn't matter if you spell Kelly wrong, it'll still direct you to my right one.
And can you hide this comment from KB
Oh,
at the moment,
I,
just because it'll bring
yeah,
our websites up on video?
yes,
I don't know. Can you put my website in?
I
Only 'cause
will
I
right
can't
now. Yeah.
from my end, but everyone, my website is mediumcheryl.com. If you sign up for my newsletter, you'll receive my 5 top tips for igniting and helping you develop your medium and psychic abilities, your intuition. So please do that. I worked really hard to create 5 videos that I'll share with you on how I also learned how to develop. My upcoming events, I have a great event tomorrow night. It's December 1st with Thomas John and Kat Devine. You can still buy tickets at healingmessages121.eventbrite.com. You can also go to my website on my events page and watch that. And then also, I just have a couple more events. I have my own small group readings online coming up in December. I have a large group reading late December, and then I'm doing a fundraiser in there in the middle for Feeding America. So Kelley and I love helping everyone. We hope we helped you out today. We appreciate all your love and support. You guys asked some really great questions that really helped the conversation, elevate. Yeah.
Thank you. Don't forget to mention your Sunday night healing prayer circle.
Do a healing prayer circle. Thanks, Kelley. Every Sunday night. I won't be doing one this coming Sunday. I'll be out of town, but every Sunday night I do a healing prayer circle online. It's free, so please sign up through my website, because we do a guided meditation as well, and that's every
It's wonderful.
6 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, it's great healing community. Yeah, really.
It is.
Thanks, Kelley.
Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate all the great questions, like Cheryl said, and we'll see you next week. But I think Cheryl won't be here next week, and I will be with Lori again. And I'm so excited. I love Lori.
Yeah.
We'll miss you, Cheryl. But
you.
you're going to be somewhere, right?
Yeah,
Where are you going?
I'll be
Far away.
in
Yeah.
the warm waters of the Caribbean. So, but I'll send you guys lots of love. So I just take that. Practicing that self-care, right?
Exactly. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. Thank you.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.